This Sunday edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens and dozens and dozens of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, whatever you want, they got it. So head over to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off regular priced and sales price items. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never.
And welcome and happy Sunday. Weekend's almost over, but we got tons of sports left on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I think we got like 11:30 baseball this morning, which is awesome. Plus golf, and of course, Game 3, Rangers Panthers, 3:00 start. I think, John, you were the one saying, I can't remember if it was on air or like one of the pre-shows, talking about how we don't have enough afternoon hockey. Well, here you go. I'm not sure the meaning of this, but here we are, 3:00 in the afternoon, Rangers Panthers Game 3. We had a game last night where the Dallas Stars even up the series. We'll get into all of that, plus our best bets as always. But first, you read his gambling picks on Winners and Winers. You read his work on Give Me Sport. Andre, how we feeling on a Sunday, man? Good to see you.
It's good to see you. Feeling pretty good. It's Memorial Day weekend, so how about that? Get those grills sizzling. Open up your pools if you're fortunate enough to have one, and watch some Rangers hockey. That's what I'm here for. I don't know about you guys.
I completely forgot that it was a holiday down there. So you guys have like tomorrow off probably, right?
It's no days off. It's like, yeah.
So I'm saying the weekend's almost over. For you guys, you're only halfway home, man. You got another full day. At the bottom of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. John, how you feeling on a Sunday, bro?
It's a beautiful weekend down here. And yeah, I'm glad we have an afternoon playoff game for once. I think on the America side of things, it's because it's Memorial Day weekend and the 9 to 5ers at least have off tomorrow. But Andre and I are writers, so pretty much whenever something comes up, we got to get going.
Yeah, I hate the 3:00 start when it's the only game. Like if it's double header or triple header or whatever, fine. But like, what am I supposed to do? Like 6:00 comes around, the game's over. Like, I guess I can watch basketball. That's been a really good series, but like, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's an afternoon game. It's the only game on. I don't know. It's anticlimactic for my Sunday, for me. But you know what? Doesn't matter. It's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. I just wanted to say really quickly, we like to have fun on this show. We joke around. We talk sports for a living. That's what we do. And we're very blessed and privileged to do it. But sometimes things happen in the world and in the sports world that you just have to acknowledge and briefly talk about. We're not going to get super into it. But yesterday, PGA golfer Grayson Murray passed away. really sad day across the sports world, the golf world specifically. He has been very open over the last couple of years about his battle with alcohol, with his depression and anxiety. We still don't know all the details of his death yesterday. But, you read reports from certain people who knew him and played with him, and the things kind of coming out from the PGA. And it does feel like we can kind of put two and two together. You don't want to speculate. But I just want to say this as somebody who has battled those things myself. If prayers, condolences to his family. That's a really hard situation. The golf world, it's the same with whatever company that you're with, right? If it's the PGA or with you guys, with the companies that you work for, it's a very tight-knit family. And to us, it's this big, grand, like the NFL is like hundreds of players and it's this big thing. But when you're in it, it's a very tight-knit small family. And so my heart breaks for everybody involved and for him, of course. And, as you feel it's necessary when these things happen to just kind of tell the world, man, like if you're struggling with addiction, depression, anxiety, it doesn't have to be the end and you can always have help. There's always hope. And so reach out to somebody that you trust, to a counselor, to anybody. There's always light on the other side. It's just sometimes really hard to see it. So prayers, condolences out to his family, to his friends, and to the PGA community. And rest in peace, man. That's a tough situation, and our heart goes out to him as well. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there before we get started. This is a sports show. We're going to talk some sports, but I did feel like it was just important to kind of get that out of the way, not out of the way, but just to kind of put that out there. And if you're struggling, please reach out, hit me up, like at Sport Addict Mark. I work with people in this area all the time. I would love to point you in a direction, anything. So, all right. It's tough to segue, but we're a sports show. We got to do it. So let's talk about that game last night. The Dallas Stars even up the series, 3-1 win. That under hit, Andre, I love it when you and I are on the same page, but last night it worked out. I don't like it. I don't like me and John being on the same team like this. You know that. But the under hit, 3-1. The -1.5 would have hit as well. John, let's start with you, man. What'd you see in that game last night?
Honestly, I think the game went about the way I expected it to. No major surprises there. Dallas and Edmonton kept the game pretty tight. It was a competitive game for a while. The game pretty much got decided late in the third period, closer than the final score indicated, considering the empty net goal.
Yeah.
The one thing I really think is worth mentioning that I take away from this is that the formula we've been saying that what it takes to beat Edmonton is pretty much what happened last night, because Dallas pretty much limited Edmonton's key players to little to no production. I mean, I don't think the three big players, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman, I don't think any of them even got a point last night. And that means for Draisaitl, he ended his historic point streak.
Yeah.
Credit to Dallas for finally having a team contain him. I believe between the three of them, they had 5 shots on goal, Hyman, McDavid, and Draisaitl. So I think there's not a lot to really break down, in my opinion. I think Dallas pretty much did what we said you have to do to beat Edmonton, make the other lines beat you. And yes, Edmonton did get a goal from one of their lower lines. I'll get early in the game, but after that, really not much. So Dallas, I think the depth prevailed last night, and they dared Edmonton to have another line beat them, and they couldn't do it.
Well, And that's a good point that you brought up about somebody else scoring, because that's the disappointing part about this for me. Connor Brown, that guy, like, really hardworking player. When you watch the games, like, that guy is working his butt off, man. He just cannot catch a break. I feel like this could be slightly wrong, but I feel like that was like his second goal since like the preseason. Like, he did not have a productive year. And so this huge celebratory moment, like Connor Brown scored, it's completely overlooked because of the end result of the game. And we've talked about this, man. Like, that game one was the perfect script, right? McDavid scores, Draisaitl scores, Hyman scores, your goaltender plays phenomenal, you get the win. And this is what concerns me. Like, when those guys aren't scoring, they don't win hockey games. And that it's a really concerning thing moving forward. And I just noticed this. I didn't really think a lot about it last night, but just looking at the stat sheet now, when you see Zach Hyman, 23 and a half minutes, Draisaitl, 23 and a half minutes, and McDavid, 24 and a half minutes. When you see those guys in the mid-20s for minutes played, I feel like that's concerning. Like, when they're in like the high teens, the low 20s, then they typically win the game. But when you have to chuck those guys out there for that long, that just shows you that they were getting nothing from anybody else. I also thought, and it has to be said, and I know the Stars won the game, and I'm kind of starting with the Oilers here, but it has to be said, Stuart Skinner looks awesome. Like, he looks really, really good. And for all the concern that we had about him, he's not the concern right now. He's doing his thing, man. He's playing well. And I thought, in the first period specifically, I thought Jake Ottinger kept the Stars alive in that first period. Like, that first period could have turned out very, very different, and Ottinger gave his team the chance to win. So where the rest of the game, Dallas started picking it up and they kind of took the game over and won the game. Even though it was way in the first period, I do feel like Ottinger kind of won that game for them in the first period and gave them the chance to do what they had to do. One last thing, Andre, before we get to you on this, is speaking about the lack of depth for the Oilers, the depth for the Stars, the fact that Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin are your best players right now should be very comforting for Dallas, in my opinion, because you have all these young stars who haven't been producing, and I feel like the old guns are just kind of giving them time, you know? Like, Jamie Benn's not the player he was. Still a good player, physical player, no visor, which I never really noticed until last night. I was like, is this guy the only guy in the league who doesn't have a visor? The whole like grandfather clock thing felt like me out there. I don't have a visor either, which I don't have the money to reconstruct my face, so I should probably get a visor. But point being, when Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn are your best players and you're winning, I feel like that's buying time for guys like Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson. So I think having Rope Hintz back at some point in this series, that's going to really help them too. So huge win last night. The veterans, the grizzled vets getting the job done. And I thought Jake Ottinger, that first period was just tremendous. Andre, what do you got, man?
Before I get into it, I do have a clarifying question. When you said young stars, did you mean young, like super talented, taking over the league type players, or like young Dallas stars?
Open for interpretation. It's like abstract art. Just whatever you see. Yeah, whatever you see, that's what it is. Whatever it speaks to you.
All right, I guess I won't dive deeper into Mark's psyche today.
It's dangerous.
So you started with the Oilers, and I mean, I think it's fair to start with the Oilers when talking about yesterday's game because they started the game on fire. I mean,
yes.
That first period, they were shot out of a cannon, just threatening. It felt like every other shift. I think the final shot total or counter was 16-4, but excuse me, like you said, Andre made so many great saves to open that game.
Deep, bro.
Like he made a ton of fantastic stops. The Oilers could have scored 3 or 4 times in that period. So
yeah.
The fact that Dallas got out of that 1-1, I mean, that probably is what allowed them to win the game because in the second period, it was kind of even. Both goalies made a ton of fantastic saves in that second period. That was really open hockey. And I think that's probably why when talking about the total game, you were leaning over because we expected that. We expected flying up and down the ice, high danger chances, like scrambles in front of the net. It's just that Skinner and Otter just put on a show. They didn't budge. I mean, it's the conference finals. You can't budge. So third period rolls around. It's still 1-1. Probably should be 1-0 Oilers. The first goal that Dallas scored wasn't the greatest shot, but whatever. And then they broke through, stayed 2-1, empty netter by Lindell right after Skinner got pulled. That's game. Really tight. I know it was 3-1 multi-goal win in the end, but really tight game, really tight series. We're being treated to some phenomenal hockey right now. This week, just great hockey. It's awesome. It's awesome.
100%. And the week, like, I thought game 1 of Rangers Panthers, I think if you're a fan of either fan base, well, specifically the Panthers fan base, game 1 was a really good game. As an observer, I found it was okay. I felt like it was just really like feeling each other out. It never really got going. Game 2 on Friday night, we talked about it yesterday. Like, that game was unbelievable. And this Oilers Stars series is just fantastic. I already kind of hinted to this, but just to double back on it for a sec, like the fact that Mason Marchment, Jamie Benn were the goal scorers that won the game, and then like you said, Lundell scored the empty netter. Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, when we're talking about the issues with depth, like, I know the Oilers have the best players in the world, like 2 of the best players in the world and the best player in the world. But this is the thing with depth, right? Is like Mason Marchment, not a goal scorer, does not score goals. I think he actually has like 4 in this postseason, which is pretty wild. Not a goal scorer. Jamie Benn, he can score goals, but that's not his primary job anymore. So like, this is what is concerning me. And the other thing that would concern me, and I do feel like I gotta jump on the Oilers, because up here in Canada land, it's all like Oilers. Yeah, the Oilers. I feel like Skinner, like, I don't know, maybe this isn't fair. He is playing so well right now that I feel like the Oilers, like, whenever they lose and he plays well, I feel like it's a missed opportunity, because he could be a gas can at any moment. Like, you just, like, it could explode at any moment. You know what I mean? So I feel like you just kind of need him you need to win the games that he plays well, because it might not go well the next game. But tomorrow night, I think it's tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, they're every other day.
They are every other day. Okay.
Just every other day.
Awesome. Yeah. So tomorrow night, 9:40. Dude, what are we doing? It's the only game on. It's only 2 hours difference. Give us a 7 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
They hate the East Coast.
Jeez. Oh, that's so frustrating. Anyway, all right. John, you got any final points on that game before we move on, bro?
I think you had a good point about Skinner. Like, you need to take advantage of the games he's playing well in. I might have argued he could have stopped the second goal last night, but I'm giving him a bit of a pass since that was a bit of a deflection that suddenly changed. I felt like it was a bit soft, but it's tough
Yeah.
when you're dealing with pucks that change directions suddenly like that.
And Dallas seems to be getting a lot of those breaks. Like they see,
Yes.
you need that to win a Stanley Cup, right? I thought they got breaks on both those goals last night, and the goal to, ironically enough, no, that was Tyler Seguin, but the goal to put it into overtime was a kind of lucky break as well. All right, let's move on. Tonight, game number 3. This afternoon, game number 3. I don't know. It just messes up my day, man. Like, you get home from church, you got some afternoon baseball, you got golf on. Then by the time, like, we know who wins the golf tournament, the puck drops, and it just throws everything off. But nevertheless, I thought that the world revolves around me, but every day I am proved that it in fact does not. The New York Rangers are in Florida, plus 136 in Sunrise. The Panthers are minus 162. The over is 5.5 at plus 114. The under is minus 135, plus 1.5 for the Rangers, minus 205, minus 1.5 for the Panthers, plus 170. Andre, what? Oh, you gave me whatever you got over there, bro. It's trans through the screen. What do you see in this game tonight, bro? This afternoon, whatever, you know what I mean. What do you see in this game?
I don't like when the Rangers play during the day, like afternoon games. I never have. I don't know. Well, we can get the whole side pick out of the way. We know what's happening there. Again, another under.
Yeah.
The first 2 games very obviously proved that these goalies aren't budging, right? I don't think going to Sunrise is going to change anything. So unless the skaters on either side just absolutely melt down, start just giving up wide open looks, expect another 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, whatever type game. So definitely take the under. Rolling Rangers money line, obviously. It's not the 30th anniversary of Messier's guarantee anymore, but I'm not changing my pick regardless. One thing I did find for this game that I really thought was interesting, Adam Fox to pick up 1 point is minus 110. And
Ooh.
I know he's injured and I know he hasn't had the best postseason per se, but he's still a point per game defenseman.
Yeah.
He's still one of the pilots on, if he's not the pilot, he's the co-pilot for a great power play. And I know the power play hasn't scored in this series, but they're moving the puck well. It's just that Bobrovsky knows the Mika Zibanejad sharp angle shot is coming, so he's sliding over quickly. They're going to break through at some point. You have to think Adam Fox gets a point there. If not, his passing, even his shooting, he shot 12.4% this year. He had 17 goals in 72 games. Like, he has a nice shot. There's going to be plenty of chances for him to score, and he had an assist on Trocheck's goal to open up the game. So for him to be minus 110 to pick up a point is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, I think
it's a slight overreaction on Vegas' part, and I love that bet more than anything for today's game. But like the rest of the series should go, I expect today to be similar. Tense, tight. There's going to be plenty of chances to score, but the goalies are going to make the saves that most goalies don't. So take the under. I think the Rangers pull it off again. I think they go up 2-1. Florida takes game 4, but that's thinking ahead a little bit. Just for now, I like Rangers money line under and Adam Fox pick up a point.
John, what about you, bro? What do you see here tonight?
To be honest, I think the traditional bets in this game, there's really no good pick on the board. I'm leaning towards Florida wins today because I don't love what I saw from the Rangers in game 2, and I think Florida's going to adjust to that. Like the Rangers, I said last time on the show that I think their number one goal into game 2 was to show Florida they're not going to be pushed around. But then I was looking for that now what moment, and I didn't see it. So I think Florida has the edge here. I'm concerned about the special teams battle as well. Florida's definitely been outplaying the Rangers in that category. Rangers can't seem to get their power play going. The PK for Florida has been great, and the Florida had a key power play goal last game as well. I'm leaning towards Florida, but with that said, I don't think it's a good bet. I mean, we're looking at the money line here, and puck line, I don't like at all. I could see this being an overtime game. What I find interesting is that the 60-minute line for Florida is plus money right now when we're looking at the money line being what it is. So I don't know what this says, but I'm feeling like Florida wins in overtime, so I don't like the idea of actually betting on them, but I think they win today. And Rangers, I kind of feel the opposite of Andre. Like Florida wins today and Rangers win game 4. But we'll see. Same with the total. Like, I'm staying away from the total as well because, like, I think an over's due to hit in one of these series. The under's been 4-0 if you combine the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference games so far. That's causing me a bit of alarm, especially because the under's at minus 135 in this game at 5.5. And yes, Bobrovsky has been great and Igor's holding up. I think I'm not saying bet the over. I think just for me personally, I'm staying away from it if it were me. What I'm looking at in this game, I don't even like my goalie props in this game. So this is a really tough game to bet. What I'm looking at in this game, honestly, Sam Reinhart, I think it's time for him to get on the board. He's the best player on the Panthers, and he hasn't really shown up at all on the stat sheet in the first 2 games of this series. I think it's time. I don't know. I can't believe the Rangers are going to contain him forever. He's plus 125 to score a goal in this game. I think it's time for him to get on the board, especially with the first game in Florida in the series. So I think if I'm doing anything in this game, because I got to be honest, I don't really like the money line or the total bets here. If I'm doing anything in this game, I'm leaning towards that.
Yeah, that's interesting what you're saying about the totals because the under is my favorite bet in this game. I think I like the Rangers money line just for the value. Like plus 136, I really, really like that bet. You shouldn't always bet just based on value. Like you should bet on like probability and all that kind of stuff. I just think I really don't know which way to go when it comes to who's going to win this game. I think in this series specifically, I feel like a little bit different in the West Coast series, but for this series, I really feel like both games should be closer to a pick 'em. Like, I feel like if you want to give the Panthers minus money because they're at home, and then the Rangers minus money when they're at home, then that's fine. Like minus 125, plus 110, something like that. But I don't think these odds should be the way they are for either side. Like I'm fine with the Panthers being favored at home, but to me, this is a really tough series to pick. I feel like I am pretty set in stone that the Oilers were going to win that series. That the Stars are going to win their series. This series, I think the Rangers are going to win, but it's a coin flip for me. Like, it's really hard to kind of break it down. But I love the under. I just think the ice is shrinking. I feel like the neutral zone is shrinking. I feel like there's no time or space for anybody, and the margins are just so thin. I really, really like the under. I know it's minus 135, a little bit juicy, but I really like that bet. The other bet that I'm looking at, and it's a bit of a long shot without the long shot odds, but I kind of like it. DraftKings has under half a goal in the first 10 minutes of the first period at minus 110. And I really, really like that bet. Like, it's like I said, it's a little bit risky just because, like it's sports. Like who knows? But minus 110 for under half. So for no goals in the first 10 minutes. I really, really like that bet. As far as props go, boys, like this might surprise you. I'm kind of scared of any props with this series after the other night. Like Goudreau scored the overtime winner. Like, I just feel like this is a random series. I just feel like anything can happen. Anybody can score. I feel like the Stars are not getting quality chances. And Andre, the Stars, as in the players, not to be confused with the Dallas Stars. I feel like the Stars aren't getting a lot of high quality chances. And anybody can score at any time. I love your Fox prop. I think that's perfect as like a point, which gives you the leeway of like it doesn't matter, goal, assist, whatever. I love the under in this game. I love no goals in the first 10 minutes. Those are my two favorite bets. Other than that, I do think the Rangers will win, but who knows, man? Like I'll be betting the Rangers based on the value. But that's just me, my personal life. I don't always recommend doing that. But it could go either way. So we'll see what happens. I also think if you got some extra coffee change and you want to sprinkle on a draw for every single playoff game for the rest of the playoffs, plus 300 for a draw, would any of us be surprised? I wouldn't be.
It'll hit at least once in 3 games, I think.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move on to our best bets, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code SportsAddict at 10% off every card in the First Round Collectibles store. That includes they have an ongoing sale up to 50% off tons and tons of cards. And with our promo code SportsAddict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number 1, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Andre, what's your best bet, bro?
Yeah, with honorable mention to Panthers under 2.5 goals, that is plus 120. I think that's worth a flyer. I'm going with the Adam Fox to pick up a point thing. Just an assist, or maybe even a goal, that would be nice too. But regardless, 1 point from a guy like him sees a ton of power play time for a power play that hasn't scored yet. Had an assist the other day, had 73 points in 72 games this year. Norris Trophy winner. I mean, he's Adam Fox. His odds are very rarely this good to just pick up 1 point. I'm gonna take advantage of it while it exists.
Love it. John, what about you?
I'm going with a prop as well here, mainly because I just don't love money lines or the total in this game. I think I'm scared with the total. Like, there's going to be an over eventually. I just don't know when it's going to be. That's really all it is. But with the prop, I really like the Reinhardt thing the more I look at this. I think he's going to get on the board today. The first home game of the series in Florida. And in the first 2 games, he's had 7 shots on goal, but not a single point. I just don't think the Rangers can keep him off the board forever. He's too good of a player not to make some noise in this series. So I'm going to bet on Reinhardt plus 125 to score a goal in this game.
Do not mind that at all. And I'll just go with the chalk pick here. You guys took some props. I'll go with the under 5.5. I know, John, that you're kind of on the fence about this one. I just think, like, once again, it's a bet that just feels like the right bet. If it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. These 2 goaltenders are playing phenomenal. Like I already said a few minutes ago, I just feel like the ice is getting so small, and I just feel like chances are at a premium right now. Even if the shot totals are high for either side, the quality of shots is not. So I really like the under here. Playoff Bob is back. Shesterkin is playing unreal. Give me that under 5.5 with an honorable mention, like I said, of no goals in the first 10 minutes is minus 110.
Yeah. So Mark, your pick really jumped these odds like nobody's business. Adam Fox 0.5 points is minus 110. Reinhardt anytime goal scorer is plus 125. Those two together are plus 298. You throw under 5.5 in the mix, that minus 135, it jumps up to plus 1100.
Love it.
They're combating each other, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely love it. Excellent job today, guys. Enjoy the rest of your long weekend. Yeah, I had a long weekend last weekend. But I'm still super jealous. I don't know. I'm always jealous of like of American holidays. I feel like in Canada, it's like, yeah, it's a holiday, blah, blah, blah. But down there, it's like, America, holiday, love my country. And it's like, I don't love my country as much as you guys do, for being honest. But anyway, I'm going down a weird road. Everybody watching, whether you're watching live or throughout the day, we appreciate you. Shout out to First Round Collectibles. Use promo code SportsAddict for 10% off regular price and sales price items. As always, my shameless plug, my recap of the Oilers Stars will be on Total Apex Sports later. Guys, have a wonderful day. Enjoy the game, Andre. I'm rooting for your guys. We will see you all tomorrow.